What is going on, you guys? It is your boy Matt Talk Sports, and Week 7 on Sunday just wrapped up. We have two more games tomorrow, as you know, Bucks versus Lions, Seahawks versus Texans. We'll get to that later. I talked about those games in my previous video, my recap, but I'll touch on those games briefly before this video ends. But anyway, Week 7 Sunday just wrapped up. The best game of the season was played today. You'll find out which one I think that is later in this video. But first, let's go over the pond to London. And maybe one of the most surprising results of the day, in my opinion, just because of how it happened. But anyway, if you made it this far, like, comment, subscribe to this channel if you want to see more of this content, if you want to see more of this face. Also, follow me everywhere on TikTok and Instagram at Matt Talk Sports. I do a lot of content on my TikTok and Instagram, so follow me there and you'll see more content like this. Hopefully, this community continues to grow with y'all. Anyway, Jaguars lose 35-7 to the Rams in London. Jaguars pretty much lost at home in this game. The Jaguars looked really, really bad today on offense. The only player that looked good for the Jaguars today, which is a player I've been curious what their situation and spot on this team will be like in the future, which is Travis Hunt. Travis Hunter was the best player on the field, both on defense and on offense. Travis Hunter had his best pro game of his career so far in the NFL, but I will say this: when he started to do a lot of his damage, it was when the game was already gone. Liam Cohen kept on going on it for fourth down. I know Cam Little missed a field goal earlier in that game, and I know the conditions were pretty rough. However, I think this Jaguars offense left like 6 points on the board. Like, they could have had two field goals. It would have been 6-21. Then it could have been 13-21. The Rams would have won anyway. They would have pulled away, but I feel like there was points left on the board here for the Jaguars. Just really a disappointing effort from the Jaguars, especially with no Puka Nacua for the Rams. This Jaguars defense is an opportunistic one. It has a lot of turnovers forced this year. However, defense keeps on getting bodied in the Chiefs game and now in the Rams game. Matthew Stafford threw to like 9 different receivers today. I mean, Matthew Stafford is firmly in the MVP combo. I don't know what his odds are like in the MVP combo when it comes to betting, but he is firmly in the MVP combo. He deserves to be there. He was terrific. 21 for 33, 5 touchdowns, only 182 passing yards. Efficiency at its finest. Devontae Adams only had 5 receptions, but guess what? He had 3 touchdowns, and he only had 34 yards. He was cooking today. I mean, Matthew Stafford was slinging the pill to everyone and anyone that the Jags would let him to. Matthew Stafford was pretty terrific today. When it comes to the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence was pretty bad today. But I will say this: the Jaguars kept on dropping a lot of passes today. I mean, Trevor Lawrence wasn't great today, but no one else was helping him out besides Travis Hunter, who got involved way too late. Travis Etienne really had no chance to run. He was 8 carries for 44 yards. Like I said, Travis Hunter was 8 receptions, 104 yards, and a touchdown. Parker Washington was the second highest receiver for this receiving corps, 4 for 52. And then De'Ami Brown 3 for 50. And then Brian Thomas Jr., who continues to be one of the most disappointing NFL players in the NFL this year, and also one of the most disappointing fantasy players in fantasy this year. Brian Thomas Jr. has not looked like his rookie self, and that is alarming. He had 3 catches for 31 yards, but he was targeted 7 times. Crazy. Travis Hunter was targeted 14 times. He had 8 catches. Wild, man. Brian Thomas Jr. had a lot of bad drops today. A lot of catches that he would have made in the rookie season, he failed to make today. And honestly, he's failed to do that for the entirety of the season so far. So the Jags lose this game. They moved to 4-3. Rams moved to 5-2. It really wasn't a close game in the slightest. The Rams were stagnant on offense and sleepwalking on offense in the second half. And the Jaguars could not capitalize off the Rams, sleepwalking in the second half on offense. That's how that game went. I mean, the Jaguars failed to complete a fourth down conversion for the entirety of that second half, it felt like, and that's what cost them the game. And also the drop passes and the underwhelming play by fucking Brian Thomas Jr. has been alarming, especially for a guy who has him on his fantasy team this year. But anyway, the Rams win. They moved to 5-2 without Puka Nacua, heading into a bye, which is terrific for them. And then the Jags fall to 4-3. Moving on. I'm going to get the blowouts out the way because honestly, the 1 o'clock slate for today's NFL football was really underwhelming. The 4 o'clock slate was where all the fun was to be had because the 4 o'clock slate was incredible. But the Chiefs dominate the Raiders 31-0. Max Crosby went out in this game for the Raiders, but nonetheless, it wouldn't have made a difference. The Chiefs dominated the Raiders here. Rashee Rice came back. Guess what he had today? 2 touchdowns. The Chiefs are the best team in the NFL. Geno Smith had 10 passes complete today, 16 attempts, and then he had 67 yards passing. Crazy. 5 of the 10 passes he completed were to Trey Tucker. Jacoby Myers didn't play today, so maybe that would have done something, but Ashton Dente had 6 carries for 21 yards. Pat Mahomes only played 5 possessions in this game, and they won 31-0. So this defense is stout, well coached on all fronts, no matter offense or defense, particularly greatly coached on defense by Spags. That's one of the best defenses in the league. And then you got the Kansas City Chiefs, who seemingly now, with a healthy wide receiving core, have little to no weaknesses. Like, Pat Mahomes is playing like the best quarterback in football right now. He's been absolutely insane this year. Pat Mahomes has been incredible. 14 touchdowns, 2 picks, 6th in passing yards, 3rd in QBR. He's been spectacular. And as someone who's a Bills fan, that hurts for me to say. The only weakness on the Kansas City Chiefs when it comes to their offense is their rushing attack. Listen, like Isaiah Pacheco had a touchdown today, 15 carries for 57 yards, 1 touchdown. He only averaged 3.8 yards a carry, though. Brashad Smith, 14 carries, 39 yards, 2.8 yards a carry. And then Patrick Mahomes, 4 for 28, 7 yards per carry. Kareem Hunt, 4 for 18, 4.5 yards per carry. And then Xavier Worthy had a carry for 13 yards. Pat Mahomes continues to be the most efficient rusher for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's the only thing you can take away from this Kansas City's offense, because besides that, look how many different people he threw today. Travis Kelce, 3 for 54, continues to look really good this year. Rashee Rice, 7 for 42, 2 touchdowns. Brashad Smith, 5 for 42. Tyquan Thornton, 1 for 39. Juju Smith-Schuster, 3 for 35. Xavier Worthy, 3 for 35. Noah Gray, 1 for 28. Hollywood Brown, 2 for 14, 1 touchdown. And then Isaiah Pacheco. Bro. Crazy. The receiving core for the Kansas City Chiefs is alarming because, I think Josh Allen's the best quarterback in football, but if you say Pat Mahomes, I'm not going to argue with you, especially when you compare resumes. But, man, the Chiefs are back, particularly on offense. If their defense is not going to be good in the regular season, it's going to be great in the postseason, so you're not going to stress about it. The same could be said about their offense, but the Kansas City Chiefs look scary. They do. And as a Bills fan who I thought I'd come away feeling better about the Bills coming after a bye and watching the rest of the NFL play, I do not. I do not, because the cream of the crop of the AFC right now would beat the Bills in this current moment, and the Bills would get outcoached quite severely. So the Chiefs are back, and they're the best team in the NFL. Fuck the Chiefs, by the way. Fuck you guys, you spoiled brats. I hate the Chiefs. Anyway, you guys are great. I respect greatness. Doesn't mean I have to love greatness, especially when I have to play you guys I know I said but especially when the Bills have to play you guys every fucking playoffs and lose. Quick Bills corner. I fear the Bills have me in this Groundhog's Day. They get my hopes up. They teeter out in the middle of the season. And then they get your hopes up back again. And then they meet the Chiefs in the playoffs. And the same shit that happens every year happens again. That's what I fear the Bills are doing to me this year again. And that pains me. Because I love this team. I die for this team. This team has so much of my heart invested into it. But I feel like I am going through Groundhog Day with the Bills. The Bills face the Panthers next week. And if we don't win that game convincingly after what we saw from the Panthers today, I'm going to be pissed. And so is every Bills fan. And people are going to be calling for heads. So moving on. Tua Tagovailoa, Mike McDaniel, Chris Greer. Was today their last days as a big part of the Dolphins franchise? I mean, we're not even into the first year of Tua's new contract, but I'm pretty sure he's done as a Dolphins. Browns dominate the Dolphins 31-6. The Miami Dolphins fall to 1-6. The Cleveland Browns fall to 2-5. Wow. I mean, this was an abysmal game from Tua Tagovailoa. Tua had 12 for 23, 100 yards, and 3 interceptions. Dylan Gabriel didn't turn the ball over today. That's all he was asked to do. 13 for 18, 116 yards, and then Quinshon Judkins continues to be one of the most impressive rookies, whether it's on offense or defense, in the NFL. 25 carries, 84 yards, and 3 tuds. He was great today. Really, it's just this team is not in it right now for the Miami Dolphins. Mike McDaniel looks lost, especially when you watch the pressers. He just looks like a defeated man, and he wants to get out of there and go be an OC. I'll tell you what, Mike McDaniel, you want to be an OC? The Bills, we will fire Joe Brady, and we will take you as our OC. Because I guarantee you're going to be a great OC. It's going to be like Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh was a horrible head coach. Well, look what he did tonight. We'll get to him later, but he was terrific tonight as a DC, and he's always been terrific as a DC. But man, I would love Mike McDaniel as an OC. whether I'm a Bills fan or whether I'm any other team in the NFL, I would take Mike McDaniel as my OC. It's just Tua Tagovailoa was really bad today, man. He had a QBR of 3.4 and a rating of 21.1. I mean, Jalen Waddle only had one catch today for 15 yards. Just abysmal football from the Miami Dolphins. I think every Miami Dolphins fan is fed up at this point. They just want the season to end. They want to get the number one overall pick, and they want McDaniel gone, they want Greer gone, and then they want Tua Tagovailoa out of their team. But I will say this for Dolphins fans: this is a bad year to draft a quarterback. Listen, I like Mendoza, I like Norris Sellers, I like a couple other quarterbacks, Nussmeier. These dudes this year do not look like pro quarterbacks. Maybe this is the year where they don't look like pro quarterbacks watching them in college, but they somehow transform and go to the next level when they go to the NFL. So maybe they are going to be great in the NFL, but right now, when I'm watching college football, I'm not exactly loving what I see. I think the best quarterback heading to this year's draft, as of right now, is Frankie Mendoza from Indiana. He's looked really great, but is that going to be a franchise changer for the Miami Dolphins? Don't know. So moving on. The Patriots, they survive a scare, and not pertaining to almost losing the game. Drake May took a really big hit today. Slammed his head pretty goddamn hard. Went into the medical tent. Ended up being fine. But the Patriots win 31-13. They move to 5-2, and the Tennessee Titans fall to 1-6. The Patriots were just a better team. Drake May, look at this efficiency: 21 for 23, 222 yards passing, and then 2 touchdowns. Ramondre Stevenson was great. Didn't fumble today. 18 carries, 88 yards, and a touchdown. Stephon Diggs, 7 receptions, 69 yards. I mean, unbelievable football from the Patriots. They're well coached. Drake May looks absolutely terrific, and they continue to worry me. I think we beat this team in the playoffs. I think we beat this team the next time we play them in the regular season, but the Patriots have a better coach right now, a head coach. I love Sean McDermott. He did so much for this franchise. He helped, in some ways, shape Josh Allen into the player he is today, but man, I don't think he's the best coach in the AFC East anymore. It's definitely Mike Vrabel. So this is a problem, and Drake May looks absolutely terrific. Drake May, look what he's done this year: 12 tuds, 2 interceptions, 5th in QBR, and 5th in passing yards. He's been terrific. He's been one of the best NFL quarterbacks this year. It sucks, dude. It really sucks. And then their defense is good enough. It'll get the job done. It's well coached, and they'll get stops when they need to get stops. They'll lock you up. And then the Titans, Cam Ward has been a horrible watch at points this year. He had that really, really good pass to Chimitri DK earlier in the game to score the first touchdown. 4 receptions, 70 yards, 1 touchdown for Chimitri DK. But this Titans team can't run the ball, and Cam Ward can't hold on to the ball. Cam Ward, surprisingly, minus the turnovers, if you subtract the turnovers, had his best NFL day: 25 for 34, 255 yards passing, 7.5 yards per pass, and then a touchdown and interception. But he also had a fumble, a really bad fumble. He also took 5 sacks today. That Patriots D-line is also an underrated D-line. Keon White and the boys, Milton Williams, that is an underrated O-line. So the Titans are the worst team in the NFL alongside the Jets. And despite firing Callahan, they show no fight today. So the Patriots win, and they continue to worry me, and Drake May continues to impress me. What a football player he is, and what a guy. Moving on. Panthers beat the Jets today, 13-6. Jets moved to 0-7. Carolina Panthers, on a 2-game win streak, moved to 4-3. They get their first win on the road, and the Jets bench Justin Fields today. Believe it or not, someone tried to tell me I was clueless for saying Justin Fields was ass a couple weeks ago. Who's the clueless one now? You're getting benched for Tyrod Taylor in the year 2025. Fucking idiot. I'm telling you guys. Some people don't watch football with their eyes. They watch it off a fucking graph and stat sheets. Watch the fucking football game. You know who was watching the game today? The coaching staff on the Jets. That's why they benched Justin Fields today. And you know what's crazy? They looked better throwing the ball when Justin Fields wasn't on the field. How shocking is that? Despite Tyrod Taylor throwing 2 interceptions, he was noticeably the better passer. Justin Fields, before he got benched, 6 for 12, 46 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a 59.7 rating and an 11.5 QBR. Justin Fields couldn't even run the ball today, 4 carries for 22 yards. And to be quite frank, Tyrod Taylor, 10 for 22, 126 yards passing, 2 picks. But the 2 picks he threw were absolutely incredible plays by J.C. Horn, who's one of the best corners in the NFL, one of the most underrated players in the NFL. J.C. Horn is terrific. And then Brees Hall, I mean, they're going to trade this guy. They're probably going to clean house. I don't know if Aaron Glenn stays this whole season. And I know some people are releasing clips of Dan Campbell in his first year with the Lions and how poorly that season went, but the vibes are way, way, way different from Dan Campbell. That team was actually gritty and fought for Dan Campbell every game. This team is just rolling over and giving up, is particularly on offense. I mean, the Jets defense is not bad. It isn't a horrible defense, but it isn't a great defense, but it's an underrated defense. Tyler Johnson was the leading receiver today for the Jets. I mean, Garrett Wilson was out, so that's a big deal for them, but this Jets team is easily the worst team in football. One, talent is a huge problem. Coaching is a huge problem. And then honestly, this team doesn't want to play football anymore for the rest of the year. They legitimately might go 0-16. That's how bad this team is. So, I mean, it's not like the Panthers were impressive today. That's why I'm going to be angry if we somehow lose to the Panthers next week or if it's a close game. Bryce Young, 15 for 25, 138 yards passing, 1 touchdown. He didn't throw the ball over. He also got injured in this game. He might be questionable heading into next week against the Buffalo Bills. And then Rico Dowdle, he should be QB1 for the Panthers. He was the way better running back with your eyes watching the game when he was on the field. I know Chuba Hubbard is coming off injury, but Dowdle was clearly the better running back. Dowdle, 17 for 79, 0 touchdowns. And then Hubbard, 14 for 31, 0 touchdowns. Xavier Legette maybe had the best game of his NFL career. He caught a lot of slack last year, caught a lot of fire, but Xavier Legette, 9 receptions, 11 targets, 92 yards, and a tud. McMillan was shut down today, 3 for 33. But the highlight from this game is Justin Fields being horrible, the Jets being horrible, and then J.C. Horn being one of the best players in the NFL, and no one is realizing it. And he showed why he is today. 2 incredible picks today by J.C. Horn. What a football player. What a football player. Moving on, this was my last day siding with the Saints. The Spencer Rattler wagon got fucking derailed today. It got derailed. I am no longer picking the Saints for the rest of the year. They are the team I was predicting them to be heading into this year. Don't get me wrong, they are gritty. The game was a lot closer than the stat line and score would tell you, but Rattler was really bad today. Really, really bad. He kind of shit his pants today. The best player on the field today for the Saints was definitely Chris Olave. Incredible player. I hope he's a Buffalo Bill in the next 2 weeks or so. Or Rashid Shaheed. So, anyway, Rattler, 20 for 32, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks, a fumble, and 233 yards passing. Really, really bad. Really, really bad. He was really bad today. One of the worst quarterbacks in football today. Despite throwing really, really 2 great touchdown passes to Olave, but that says more about Olave. And then Kamara. I mean, they really couldn't run the ball today at all at the Saints. 11 for 28 for Alvin Kamara. He's definitely reaching the twilight of his career. Spencer Rattler for 2 for 12. And then ultimately, this whole entire team, 17 carries for 44 yards, 2.6 yards a carry. Juwan Johnson, Olave, and Shaheed were the main primary targets for the Saints, but the Bears defense held up. It wasn't like Caleb Williams was great today. I mean, Caleb Williams had a poor game. 15 for 26, 172 yards passing, 6.6 yards per pass, 0 touchdowns and 1 interception. The memo and the main takeaway for this Bears team is they can run the ball this year. They've been running the ball not only great last week and a huge win against Commanders, they ran it here today. They spread the ball out today. DeAndre Swift, 19 carries, 124 yards, and a touchdown, back-to-back 100-yard games for DeAndre Swift. Kyle Mondekai, I butchered his name just now, but he was great today. 13 carries for 81 yards and a tud. And then Roshan Johnson got a carry for 11 yards. They were very efficient running the ball today, and that O-line looked like it got upgraded compared to last year. DJ Moore, 3 for 43, 2 for 31 for Odunze, and then Colson Loveland finally getting some action, 3 for 24. So the Bears, I know Caleb threw a pick today, but the Bears defense held up. Caleb Williams needs to play better, but ultimately they did what they needed to do to win. The defense played really great, forced 3 turnovers from Spencer Rattler today. That's the main reason why the Bears won today, because they ran the ball greatly and then the defense stepped up. So the Bears win 26-14. The Bears moved to 4-2 and the Saints moved to 1-6. Moving on, I was kind of impressed with this one today. It wasn't nearly as pretty as you might think, but I was impressed. Eagles win 28-22. Eagles move to 5-2. Vikings fall to 3-3. Really, the boneheaded plays from Carson Wentz cost the Vikings this game. The pick 6 and the other interception he threw cost the Vikings this game. But I will say this, Jalen Hurts looked great today. He looked really good. 19 for 23, 3 touchdowns, 326 yards. The running game continues to be an issue for the Eagles. Saquon Barkley has not looked good. Another game where he's averaging 2 point yards a carry or less. 18 carries, 44 yards, 2.4 yards a carry. He was really bad today. But then you look at Jalen Hurts and the receiving core. Jalen Hurts, 19 for 23, 326 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 95 QBR, and then 158 QB rating. What a fucking game from Jalen Hurts. He was really great today. Devontae Smith, cooked today. 9 for 183 yards, 1 tud. And then A.J. Brown, 4 for 121 yards, 2 touchdowns. So A.J. Brown was targeted 6 times today. He caught 4 balls and turned it into 121 yards and 2 tuds. And then Devontae Smith, 9 receptions on 11 targets. Great. Great, great, great. Clearly, something was said to the Eagles' offensive coordinator from Jalen Hurts and company, and they schemed out this game to get the ball to Smith and Brown, and they did that efficiently and greatly. Brown, Smith, and Jalen Hurts look the best they have all season, and it's a big win coming off a really bad loss against the Giants. And the Vikings defense is great. So to dominate the passing like the Eagles did today is a promising sign for things to come forward, hopefully, if you are an Eagles fan or a member of the Eagles football team. So the Eagles won that game 28-22. Let's talk a little bit about the Vikings. I mean, Carson Wentz, the 2 big interceptions cost him this game. And honestly, there was a touchdown thrown to Hawkinson at the end of this game, which would have been 28-25. Vikings would have lost anyway, but they would have lost by 3. That was a touchdown. I don't know how it was reversed. I think he got his hands on the ball. He caught that. Jordan Addison, 9 for 128 yards, 0 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson, 5 for 79, 0 touchdowns. And then TJ Hawkinson, 6 for 43. Jordan Mason with 15 carries, 57 yards in the tud. So the Vikings they need a quarterback who's not going to make these boneheaded mistakes like Carson Wentz and J.J. McCarthy are doing. Carson Wentz is inexcusable at this point. He's washed. Past injuries have ruined him as a player, but it's inexcusable. J.J. McCarthy's a rookie, so that's the main reason why he can make these mistakes early in his career. But the Vikings need a quarterback, and they're a quarterback away from being a good team. Hopefully they get their guy in the future if you're a Vikings fan. But Philadelphia wins 28-22. They move to 5-2. Vikings fall to 3-3. Moving on, and we go to the 4 o'clock slate, which was incredible to watch. I mean, absolutely electricity. I think it's official. You got to give this team its props. That's how great this team looks. Jonathan Taylor is the biggest takeaway from this game. People putting Daniel Jones ahead of Jonathan Taylor in the MVP conversation is ridiculous. The only reason why you do that is because you just don't believe a running back could win MVP, which is fair. But Daniel Jones should not be an MVP combo because he has the best running back in football outside of Bijan Robinson on his team. Let's talk about the Colts victory, 38-24 over the LA Chargers. Colts move to 6-1. Chargers fall to 4-3. The Chargers are just banged up and they got dominated today. Believe it or not, the scoreline for this game is a lot closer than it should have been. Listen, Daniel Jones was good today. I know I just went off on that little tangent about Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones 23 for 34, 2 tuds and 288 yards passing. He was efficient and did what he needed to do. He was really good. At the end of the day, this is one of the most slept-on coach teams in the NFL. This is a great coach team by Steichen and company. They know how to not only coach up their defense, they know how to coach up their offense. The offense is one of the best offenses in the league. The Chiefs, Colts, and the Cowboys are easily the best offenses in the NFL. That is quite evident. The Colts were incredible today. Jonathan Taylor, 16 carries, 94 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was incredible, unbelievable today. Amir Abdullah, who would have thought this dude would be making some key plays, not only on the kick return, but little spunky plays on offense from now and then. Like, I remember watching this dude when he was in college. He's 32 years old now, and he's still making plays. Shout out Amir Abdullah. But then Alex Pierce, I mean, this receiving core for the Colts is one of the most underrated receiving cores in the NFL. Tyler Warren, you guys know how much I love Tyler Warren, hopefully, at this point. I think he's going to be a future Hall of Famer. He continues to be one of the very best rookies on offense this year, if not the best. He's been incredible. It's him and Emeka Ibuka for the best rookies in this class so far on offense. He's been legit. Alex Pierce, 5 for 98. Incredible game from him. Tyler Warren, 4 for 69 in a tud. Michael Pittman, 7 for 58 in a tud. Jonathan Taylor, 3 receptions, 38 yards. This offense was efficient and it was dominant. This game ultimately was won in the trenches, and the Colts won defensively in the defensive trenches, and they won offensively in the offensive trenches. This O-line for the Colts might be the best O-line in the NFL. The holes they open up for Jonathan Taylor are unreal. The pass protection is unreal. I mean, this is a really, really good O-line. Daniel Jones only took 1 sack today. This Colts team is legit. I think we're going to face the same fate as the Vikings last year, the Sam Darnold team in the playoffs. They're going to be really great in the regular season, but then they're going to meet their fate in the playoffs. I think that's the outcome for this Colts team. I think that's the ceiling for this Colts team. But I'd be lying if I said this wasn't a great team. This is a really legit team, and you guys start taking this team seriously if you haven't already. When it comes to the Chargers, they're just too banged up on the O line and the running back room. They can't run the ball with Vidal and Haskins as efficiently as they might have if they had Najee Harris and Amari and Hampton. With both of those dudes, Amari and Hampton on IR, and then Najee Harris out for the year, you're gonna have some problems, especially on the O line. You're slated to have one of the best O lines in the league, but then when you have your left tackle and your right tackle go out, that's a problem. Um, Justin Herbert threw the ball 55 times today. He threw 2 picks, 37 for 55, 420 yards passing, 3 tuds, 2 picks. Listen, wasn't the worst game in the world from him today, but he tried to do his best and he couldn't. He couldn't overcome that Colts offense and his injuries on offense. He took 3 sacks today for 29 yards lost. Gadsden, that tight end they have on the Chargers, 7 receptions, 164 yards and a tud. Keenan Allen, 119 yards on 11 receptions, 1 tud. Lab McConkey, 67 yards, and then Quentin Johnson, a tud, 2 receptions for 30 yards. So, I mean, really, it's just the injuries hurting the Chargers team at the moment. You can't doubt their coaching. Harbaugh is a great coach, and you can't doubt their quarterback talent and their offensive talent. But 2 of their starting running backs are down, and then their 2 tackles, and honestly, 2 of the best tackles in the NFL are down. So that's a recipe for disaster, and they proved that today. Moving on, Commanders get blown out in Jerry World, 22-44. Now let's preface this game real quick. The Commanders were down their wide receiver 1, their wide receiver 2, and their QB1 later in the game, Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels had to get out of this game and sat after this game was lost. So take that into consideration, but if I'm a Commanders fan, it starts to worry. The Commanders fall to 3-4. Cowboys move to 3-1. Commanders lose 44-22. Dak Prescott continues to be one of the best quarterbacks in football. He is absolutely terrific. Dak Prescott, 20 for 30, 3 tuds, 264 yards passing. Javonte Williams having a renaissance year, 19 carries, 116 yards, and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb, back like he never left. He was terrific today, and so was George Pickens. We got to talk about him. One of the best receivers in football. Bro, him and Dak's chemistry is unreal. The way Dak is able to fit the ball to George Pickens is legit. If you're a Steelers fan, you miss George Pickens despite his behaviors. And then Jake Ferguson continues to be one of the best tight ends in the NFL. He was targeted 7 times today, caught all 7 passes. So CeeDee Lamb, 5 for 110 yards, 1 touchdown. George Pickens, 4 for 82, no touchdowns. And then Jake Ferguson, 7 for 29, 2 tuds. Unreal. And then Daron Bland had a pick 6 today from Marcus Mariota, which was a horrible throw. Dak Prescott on this offense, one of the best 3 offenses in the NFL. This offense is scary, and it's a well-coached offense. It's a well-schemed offense. And, as far as I'm concerned, no one on the defense for the Commanders was injured today of consideration. So, Jaden Daniels, before he left the game with an injury, 12 for 22, 156 yards passing, 1 touchdown. A fine game. It definitely would have been more competitive if he didn't leave this game, but when you look at the rushing attack, they struggled to run the ball against the Cowboys defense, which is not a good one at all. Jaden Daniels, 8 carries for 35 yards and a touchdown. Marcus Mariota, 2 for 34. The 2 players who had the most rushing yards on this offense were quarterbacks. And then Ja'Cory Croce-Merritt, 13 carries for 33 yards. Jeremy Nichols, 2 for 22. And then Chris Rodriguez Jr., 3 for 12, 1 touchdown. Jalen Lane. I mean, these are the people Marcus Mariota and Jaden Daniels were throwing the ball to. Jalen Lane, Chris Moore, Zach Ertz, Robbie Chosen, who is still an NFL player, by the way. I got reminded of that today. Jeremy McNichols, John Bates, Luke McCaffrey, and Ja'Cory Merritt. Start this game, I said the Commanders are down their 2 receivers, Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin. They're also down their wide receiver 3. So take this into consideration if you're a Commanders fan or you just watched this game and thought the Commanders are that much worse than the Cowboys. This game would have been way closer if they had their QB1, Jaden Daniels, for the full game. If they had wide receiver 1, Terry McLaurin, for the whole game. Deebo Samuel, who's been one of the best wide receivers in the NFL for this game. And if they had Noah Brown, who's a decent and good wide receiver 3. So the Cowboys did win this game. They looked impressive on offense. They even had some really great plays on defense. But take into consideration who the Commanders were losing on offense today and who they didn't have. So, moving on. Cowboys move to 3-1. Commanders fall to 3-4. I'm going to save the best game for last. This was a pretty goddamn great game, though. And honestly, it features a team that I remain unimpressed with. Green Bay Packers move to 4-1-1. Cardinals fall to 2-5. The Cardinals are just gritty with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. And clearly, Jacoby Brissett does something to this offense where they play better and more efficiently compared to when Kyler's at offense. Now, I don't know how much of a difference Kyler would have made on offense today. It's a possibility he could have done stuff that Jacoby Brissett couldn't have done, but Jacoby Brissett was pretty goddamn good today. Um, Green Bay wins 27-23. Really, the story today was Michael Parsons' 3 sacks. What a game from him. But Jacoby Brissett, 25 for 36, 2 touchdowns, and 279 yards receiving. Bam Knight, 14 carries, 57 yards. You got to remember, as a Cardinals fan and as a Cardinals viewer, they're down 2 of their starting running backs. It's kind of crazy. Jacoby Brissett, 6 carries for 26 yards. Jacoby Brissett, look at you go, bro. I'm happy for Jacoby Brissett. But Trey McBride, 10 receptions for 74 yards, 2 tuds. Continues to be one of the best unknown tight ends in the NFL. Anyone who watches ball knows who he is, but I feel like a lot of people don't bring him up in the best tight ends conversations, and he certainly is one of them. Zay Jones, 2 for 67. Marvin Harrison, 2 for 58. That's another person that has been underwhelming this year. Extremely disappointing. He was great in the Seahawks game Thursday night, but besides that, very disappointing. Michael Wilson, 3 for 40. Michael Carter, 2 for 25. Shout out Zay Jones, former Buffalo Bill. Very good for the Cardinals today. And then this Green Bay offense is weird to me, man. This is the most unimpressive thing about the Green Bay team. Their offense and their secondary, in my opinion. Their defensive line is great for the Packers defense. Great, great, great. Anything after that on that defense is mediocre to me, in my opinion. Jordan Love, 19 for 29, 179 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 sack taken today. Josh Jacobs, 2 touchdowns, 13 carries, 55 yards. Romeo Doubs, 6 receptions, 72 yards. Tucker Kraft, 5 for 58, 1 touchdown. Then after that, Matthew Golden, 4 for 37. And then everyone after that had 1 catch. I mean, so listen, this wide receiving core for the Packers is a good one. It's full of depth, but Dobbs is their wide receiver 1, and Kraft is clearly a great weapon to throw to. But I don't know. I don't believe in this Packers team. I know they're 4-1, and I know Michael Parsons looked great for the first time this season. He stuck out quite a bit watching the game today. Michael Parsons, 3 sacks. Incredible. But they were going band for band with the Cardinals with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. I know Jacoby Brissett has been good in the last game he started last week, and he was great today, but this Cardinals team is dead, and they're a banged-up team. So to win this game only by 4 points, and to have this game come down to the wire, and honestly, the Cardinals got to the red zone. If there's a little bit more time, the Cardinals probably win this game. But sadly, the Cardinals had to rely on a fucking Hail Mary. So I remain unimpressed with the Packers. I do believe this is a team that's built for the playoffs and has a roster built for the playoffs, and they have great coaching built for the playoffs. But as of right now, I am not impressed with this Packers team. And as a team I viewed as a Super Bowl contender and probably a team competing in the Super Bowl after the Mike Parsons deal, I find that more and more less convincing as I watch this team play with my eyes. So moving on, Packers moved to 4-1. Cardinals moved to 2-5. The best game of the day, and probably the best game of the year, Broncos win 33-32. Broncos moved to 5-2. New York Giants moved to 2-5. Demaryius Thomas passed away at 33 years old. Broncos scored 33 points to win this game and come back. What a performance. What a performance. There was 33 points scored in the fourth quarter by the Broncos. They were shut out 19-0 until the end of the third quarter. This is how this fourth quarter went, in case anyone wasn't watching. Troy Franklin caught a touchdown pass, deflected, by the way, in the end zone for a catch. It felt like a Keon Coleman catch in that Ravens game earlier this year for the Bills. Theo Johnson, 41-yard pass for a touchdown from Jackson Dart. Giants go up 26-8. Bo Nix, 7-yard rush for a touchdown, 26-16. Jackson Dart throws a pick, 26-23. RJ Harvey touchdown. And then Denver gets the ball back, 26-30. Denver goes up 30-26. Bo Nix touchdown. Bo Nix had 2 rushing touchdowns today. What a fourth quarter from Bo Nix. Jackson Dart gets a touchdown after a PI call. Giants go up 32-0. They miss the PAT. And then Bo Nix has a great 4 plays to get Will Lutz in position for a 39-yard field goal. Broncos go up 33-32 to win the game. What a game this was. Bro, the deficit for this game was 19 points. 19 points. I thought after the Bills' first game of the year against the Ravens that 15 points was going to be the best comeback of the year, best comeback of the decade, and a comeback we might not ever see again. Little to be known, 6 weeks later, we're seeing a greater comeback, a 19-point comeback for Demaryius Thomas. What a game by the Broncos. What a soulful and purposeful comeback, and what a spirited comeback. What a game. If you're a Giants fan, this loss hurts quite a bit. You blew a 19-point lead. You let up 33 points in the fourth quarter. Unreal. However, there is promise for your future. Jackson Dart, he did have some really bad moments today. He had a really bad pick, and honestly, he threw some couple other passes in the fourth quarter that should have been picked off as well. However, at the end of the day, they put 32 points up on this Broncos defense. This Broncos team is not good. They are stinky, in my opinion, but at the end of the day, this is a great defense, and the Giants put up 32 points on this defense with Jackson Dart at quarterback. Russell Wilson as a quarterback. This game isn't nearly as close and nearly as competitive, and the Giants certainly wouldn't have a 19-point lead. Jackson Dart 15 for 33, 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick. He took 4 sacks today. The ability to improv and the way he keeps his eyes up and the way he moves around the pocket looks really good as a rookie, in my opinion, for Jackson Dart. I like what I've seen from Jackson Dart, despite the starting play in the fourth quarter from him in this game. I think that's fine as a rookie. You're going to make these mistakes. You're going to play in games like this your rookie year. These are the things you have to neaten up moving in the second year. So that's fine to me. Scatterboo continues to be effective. 16 for 60, 3.8 yards a carry. Tyrone Tracy had a really good game today. 9 for 46, 1 TD. Jackson Dart ran it in for a touchdown. Wan'Dale Robinson continues to be great for the Giants. 6 for 95. Danny Bellinger, 3 for 88, 1 TD. Theo Johnson, 3 for 66, 1 TD. Cam Scatterboo, 3 receptions, 34 yards, and 1 TD. This Giants defense was playing great, man, until they weren't. And they played really goddamn well today. Brian Burns, 2 sacks. He probably should be the Defensive Player of the Year frontrunner. He really was great today, man. He got injured in this game, so hopefully he's fine, but he was great today, and he continues to be great. And then let's go to the Broncos side of the thing. I said Bo Nix had a great fourth quarter, but when you look at his completion and attempts, it's really bad. 27 for 50, barely above 50% completion. 279 yards passing, 2 TDs, only took 2 sacks today. J.K. Dobbins, 14 for 81, no TDs. Bo Nix, 5 for 48, 2 TDs. R.J. Harvey couldn't run the ball at all today. He's really good receiving, though, despite only having 1 catch for 1 touchdown today. Cortland Sutton, 6 for 87, had a huge catch on the final drive. Marvin Mims, 6 for 85. Evan Ingram, 5 for 42. Nate Atkins, 2 for 20. Troy Flanker, 3 for 19. And Tyler Beatty, 2 for 19. I mean, he threw it to a lot of different people today, and he needed to. Listen, this Broncos team, spirited effort, but I still think they're not a good team. Their defense is great, though. 4 sacks the defense had today. And then you have Pat Surtain as your corner. Like, you're going to be great regardless. I'm actually curious what the completions for Bo Nix looked like in the fourth quarter. I'm trying to pull that up real quick, but he was outstanding in the fourth quarter, man. Outstanding. What a game for Bo Nix. What a game. And it all started, it's funny, the comebacks this year, the Bills and Ravens comeback, and now the Broncos versus Giants comeback, all started with a deflected pass at the brink of death to a wide receiver to somehow haul it in and get a touchdown. Happened for the Bills with Keon Coleman. Happened for the Broncos here with Troy Franklin. What a game. The best game of the year. And honestly, you kind of expected this Sunday night game to be a letdown after that game. The San Francisco 49ers beat the Atlanta Falcons 20-10 and San Francisco. San Francisco moves to 5-2. The Falcons move to 3-3. And watching this game as a Bills fan, it hurt. Because you watch this game and you realize how underwhelming the coaching staff for the Bills are. Because the San Francisco 49ers are maybe the most hurt team in the NFL, specifically on defense. No Fred Warner, no Nick Bosa, 2 of the very best defensive players in the NFL, and 2 captains for this defensive team. So you think, yeah, after they go out, this defense should be dead, done. What does Robert Saleh do? Coaches his ass off and has these dudes who shouldn't be on an NFL team play their minds out. Like, it's no disrespect to players like Malik Mustafa, Bryce Huff, and a couple other players, but almost every other player is unrecognizable. Like Sharon Neal, a former Buffalo Bill, played pretty goddamn good on defense for the 49ers today, which is insane. I mean, what Robert Saleh is able to get out of his defense, as a DC is insane. He was not a good head coach, but he's a hell of a DC, and I feel like Mike McDaniel's going to meet the same fate as him. Mike McDaniel's going to get fired, but he's going to improve. He is a great coach in the NFL, particularly when he's an offensive coordinator, and same goes to Saleh when he's particularly a defensive coordinator. So the head coaching jobs won't work out for Saleh and Mike McDaniel, but they'll work out when they're a coordinator in the rightful position they deserve to be in. Um, what a game for the 49ers on defense. What a well-coached team this 49ers team is. They are somehow 5-2 despite all their egregious injuries. It's funny, man. Christian McCaffrey, what a workhorse. Led the team in receiving and rushing. McCaffrey, still one of the very best running backs in the NFL. Unbelievable player. McCaffrey, 24 for 129 yards, 2 tuds rushing. And then you go to receiving. Brian Robinson Jr. ran the ball really well today, by the way. 9 for 36, only 4 yards a carry, but still, he ran it pretty efficiently. Christian McCaffrey, 7 for 72, 10 yards per reception, had a huge conversion in the red zone on third down, I think it was. And he was in the slot, faked the out route, went inside, caught a little streak. Great. Mac Jones was efficient today, 17 for 26. He had a pick, but it was a bad pick because Juwan Jennings had it in his hands and he dropped it. McCaffrey, 24 carries, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns rushing, and then 7 receptions, 72 yards, no tuds. I mean, this dude is their entire team. He is their workhorse. He is their workload, and he continues to impress. And I thought he was going to be washed this year, not only due to all of his injuries, but due to the tremendous workload he's had to carry on his back for the Panthers and for the 49ers. And he continues to do so this year after an alarming injury last year. He's only 29, so he's not that old, but he's unreal. He has the second most carries in the NFL this year. Second most carries in the NFL. Someone tried to bring up to me like, if CMC was in his prime, he would have had a way better game. I don't know how much better of a game he could have had in this game. He had 7 receptions for 72 yards and then 24 carries for 129 yards. So how much better would prime CMC would have done? Would he had 200 yards rushing and 100 yards receiving? Maybe, but seriously, shout out to CMC. He looks great. He's not in his prime anymore, but goddamn, he's still one of the best running backs in the NFL. One of the most exciting and entertaining running backs I've ever seen in my lifetime. Continues to impress me, continues to blow me away, and continues to exceed expectations at this point in his career. What a player, what a performance. And shout out that 49ers O-line. They were moving around that Falcons defense, and they stuck to that game plan, and I wish the Buffalo Bills did. James Cook is a great running back. I wish they used him in the receiving game more, because clearly that's what they did with CMC today, and it worked out greatly for the 49ers. Let's go to the Falcons. Ultimately, they got outcoached. Kyle Shanahan and Saleh, great duo as a coach. They did their shit today. Penix, 21 for 38, 241 yards passing, 1 touchdown, took 2 sacks, had a fumble, had a really bad intentional grounding to end the first half. Bijan Robinson, 14 carries for 40 yards. As a Bills fan, are you fucking listening to what I'm saying? Bijan Robinson had 14 carries for 40 yards. Drake London, 4 receptions for 42 yards. And mind you, this is who led the Falcons receiving today. Darnell Mooney, 3 for 68. Kyle Pitts, 7 for 62. Bijan Robinson, 6 for 52. I'm going to let you guys know something as a Buffalo Bills fan. The Falcons didn't have Darnell Mooney last week. All they had last week, healthy, and who will make a difference on that field for the Falcons last week, was Bijan Robinson, Michael Penix, and fucking Drake London. Drake London is still a great receiver, but he was locked up today. Not only schematically, but like as a player, like the defensive players in the secondary for the 49ers did greatly on Drake London today. So what I take away from this game is, one, the Falcons are still the Falcons, despite having that great victory against the Bills. But if the only thing I took away from this game is the Bills should be alarmed, because there's a clear coaching discrepancy for that Bills team. And not only is there a coaching discrepancy, there is a talent discrepancy. But I'm not going to buy this talent shit, because Saleh is coaching a banged up defense and coaching all these players who wouldn't make a lot of NFL rosters and making them play above their levels to win the game for their team. Why can't Sean McDermott and Bobby Babbage do that? I mean, Sean McDermott, the time is ticking for you, buddy. It's ticking. Like, I wanted to watch this NFL Sunday and come away with it like, you know what? I wasn't impressed by any of the AFC teams. I wasn't impressed by the teams that beat us, but I wasn't impressed by the Falcons, and that made me feel worse about the Bills. And then the Patriots continue to look great, and then the Chiefs are back to who they were 2 years ago, especially on offense. So it's like, what the fuck? The Bills have a problem, man. They need to win that Panthers game bad, and they need to do it impressively because you're losing faith with Bills fans, and you're losing faith with your number one Bills fan right now. Um, it's shocking how the 49ers battered defense was able to hold Bijan Robinson to 40 yards, 2.9 yards a carry. Bijan's longest run was 8 yards today. Longest run was 8 yards today, bro. Longest. And then Drake London's longest play of the day was 19 yards. Bijan's longest reception was 15 yards. The Bills had run responsibility last week, and they showed up ill prepared and underperformed. I get that the talent in the secondary for the Bills is not good, and it's really bad at the moment. But Jesus, man, Jesus, you had one job. How could you not stop Drake London when he's the only receiver fucking Michael Penix is throwing to? How can you not stop Bijan Robinson when you know what they're going to do? So McDermott and Bobby Babich, despite Bobby Babich and McDermott finding a way in the second half to stop that offensive attack, it's shocking. There's a clear coaching discrepancy, not only on defense for the Bills, but for offense. Joe Brady, bro, time is ticking for you, my friend. You wanted a head coaching job after this year? Good luck. Good luck. Go to the Titans. They'll see who you are, my friend. But anyway, I know I just went on a tangent about the Buffalo Bills, and I was hoping I didn't have to talk about the Buffalo Bills this week, but watching NFL today, I felt like shit about the Buffalo Bills. So the 49ers moved to 5-2, Falcons moved to 3-3, 49ers win 20-10, and that is the Week 7 slate for Sunday. Tomorrow we have two games. Texans vs. Seahawks at 10 o'clock, which is a great game. I have the Texans win that game. I just can't ignore the home and away stats for the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks they just find ways to win at home. Give me the Texans. I think that defense is really good, and I think they will do enough to stop and hinder that Seattle Seahawks offense. I do think that I know Sam Darnold's been really good today. I know Sam Darnold's been really good this year. They're doing a lot of quick passes for Sam Darnold, so he doesn't have to face that immense pressure due to that battle line. But I think the Houston Texans will take advantage of that battle line, and I think the secondary for the Houston Texans is really good. I think they will remove Jackson Smith-Njigba from the game and try to make anyone else beat them, whether it's Kenny Walker, Charbonnet, or Cooper Kupp and Torrey Horton and the boys. So I think that's gonna be a great game, and I love that game closes out the night. Night game in Seattle just feels right on Monday Night Football. Sam Darnold over CJ Stroud, two elite defenses. I mean, I love that game. And then the game before, we get two elite offenses. Unreal Monday Night Football tomorrow. We get Tampa Bay versus Detroit. Tampa Bay, 5-1, heading into Detroit, the hottest team in the NFL. Detroit coming off a loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm pretty confident the Bucs get blown out here. I think the Bucs are due. I think they're due to get blown out. No Bucky Irvin for the Bucs. It's possible Emeka Egbuka is going to be out, and Mike Evans. I assume one of them is going to play, but they're both questionable in game time decisions for that game tomorrow. But I know the big thing with the Lions here, and the only thing that's going to waver me from not confidently picking the Lions here is that Brian Branch is suspended for this game, and Terry Arnold is out for this game. So their secondary is banged up, and if Emeka Egbuka and Mike Evans somehow play, whoa, this is going to be some game. It's going to be some game. I'll tell you that much. But I got the Lions here, and I think they blow out the Bucs, especially if one of Emeka or Mike Evans are out, because Chris Godwin is out as well for this game, I believe. I'm pretty sure Chris Godwin is out for this game as well. So I got the Lions here. I think that line is kind of telling you what's going to happen. So I think the Lions win that game. They cover -5.5, and I think the Texans win outright, or at least cover the 3.5 in Seattle. So that is it for Week 7. Follow me everywhere at Matt Talk Sports, TikTok, Instagram, and obviously subscribe to my channel here. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you made it this far in the video. And next Thursday, you will see me covering Week 8, doing a little Bills Corner, talking about Panthers versus Bills, recapping the Thursday Night Football game this week, and then predicting and picking the full Week 8 slate. Before I go, cherish these weeks, boys. We are about to be in Week 8. That means we only have 8 weeks left of football. Not happy about it. I don't know about you. Not happy about it. I love basketball. I love the NBA. It starts Tuesday. I think I'm going to start doing basketball content on here. I was going to do predictions for the NBA season, but I don't know. I don't know about you guys. The NBA doesn't start until Christmas for me. I will be doing TikToks and YouTube Shorts. I may even do YouTube videos on the NBA every week or every other week, just talk about talking points in the NBA, but I'm not going to do a prediction video. I'm not. I will not be releasing prediction videos. I might do little prediction videos on my TikTok, on my YouTube Shorts, on my Instagram Reels, but no full length videos. Maybe I'll surprise you. Maybe I do it. Maybe I'll have a chance and time to do it this week, but I don't think I will. But expect NBA content on this channel and expect college basketball content on this channel. Expect college football content on this channel when it comes to the playoffs and bowl games, and expect MMA and UFC content on this channel in the future, because once football season ends and calms down and slows down, I will be doing UFC predictions for UFC Saturdays. So stay tuned. Follow me everywhere I'm at Talk Sports. Subscribe to the YouTube channel right now if you're watching this video, and guess what? I'll see you Thursday.